month has just been a blur. It feels like 3 days.
Well, because Gia graduates in May. That's what I'm convinced.
Oh, yeah,
I'm convinced it's because of the graduation. But I'm also angry. I was at a soccer game last night, dressed like it was like that like Thanksgiving dinner was on the table. That's how cold it was. It's absurd.
There's something about any sport where it's like an open field. Okay, so picture soccer, in my case, baseball. Yeah. The wind, for some reason, this season has been unbearable. I mean, and I don't know what's going on with the wind, and I'm not one that really gets into the scientific basis for weather shifts, but
we ignored that part during
but I do believe that there's something wrong with the month of April being as cold as like winter, because I was going to tell you, since we have our shared birthday Friday, my mom has reminded me many times over the years, back in the day, I had pool parties on our birthday, and they were outdoor. Yeah. So what changed?
I don't know.
Because now you'd be a fool to have a pool party in May 1st.
I can't even imagine opening our pool at any time in the near future, but this is just ridiculous. And it's right about this time of year that my husband and I look at each other and we're like, why do we live here? Like, my husband hates it because he's an equator guy, right? Like, he's an equator guy.
Anybody who's a transplant has that conversation on a regular basis.
Yeah, he is hating it right now. So I wanted to start something at the top of the hour because I was sent a message last night, and kind of right before I go to bed, I check messages and stuff. And somebody on my Amanda Goodman public page sent me a message. Amanda, you need to check out this girl. She's going through it, but she's taking a stand. It was a reporter out of WQ80 in Quad Cities. Mm-hmm. And she got a letter in the mail. She got a card. It was a card. Of course, it was anonymous, and it was just dissected everything about this. And it's a young reporter, and she spoke out about it, which I'm so proud of her for doing this, because, and I don't mean to minimize her or sound condescending when I say I'm proud of her, but I am, because you and I were never allowed to clap back at a viewer.
Correct.
But I said, I sent her a message because I'm thinking they really don't like you. The commitment I admire, because they went and bought a card and they had to buy a stamp,
which are very pricey.
Stamps are very expensive, but it's like, I wrote about it this morning because I'm thinking it is 2026 and here we are still commenting on a woman's appearance. Like, it just blows my mind. It just blows my mind. But I'm happy that and someone will tell her, I'm sure, just take the high road. Someone will tell her, don't feed it any more attention. You shouldn't have said anything. And that's the part that I'm over.
You talk about it in our show, and it's so true. Imagine if you've never experienced attacks on your appearance. Imagine if your appearance was somehow fairly or unfairly tied to your job performance.
Yes.
And so that is an unusual space to live in. So we laugh because think of all of the men that okay, and think of every guy you've ever worked with. Out of everyone you've ever worked with, is the men especially, the vast majority of them, not only have they never received honest or constructive or critical feedback about their appearance, especially that's never happened to them in a public forum. And so the part that is hilarious, and we've seen this all the time, 90% of the trolls now that are out there are just like waiting, right?
Yes.
So as soon as somebody jumps on a comment feed and says something that is sideways or off-putting or people are mad about, everybody instantly rushes to their profile picture.
Oh, yeah.
And then says the most horrible things about, that person. And I've seen time and time again, they delete it then. They delete the original comment.
Oh, yes,
because it's like, wait, I can dish it out, but I also have to take it. Yeah, you do.
Yeah. Heifer. Like, that's what I say. But it's insane, and it's kind of, you really have gone through a lot of things, right? And you have been in the arena getting your tail kicked. Mm-hmm. And so it's kind of, I wrote a post the other day and it was like, we're not doing this, And then somebody had come to the page and you and I were like laughing about it. And another woman saying, you're the most, how did she say it? Like, basically, like, I'm knocking women down.
Judgmental.
I'm the most judgmental person. And then she went in to say all these things about me. So she was doing the very thing that she was accusing me of doing.
Of course.
You know, and then I'm thinking, I know I'm not. Like, and that's the thing that's interesting. I no longer defend myself to people who I would never ask for advice, but I also don't defend myself. If people are accusing me of XYZ, I know who I am. I'm so comfortable and I know who I am. Am I judgmental? I am judgmental. I'm sure I'm judgmental. Like in my head, I don't put it on paper or online. I'm not going to sit here and say like, oh, I don't judge. Of course I do.
Well, and I think when someone comes at you or has an opinion about you, it's normal that you would have a judgment call that would be your reaction to somebody entering the chat. You didn't invite them to go public.
No,
so
and you're not going to come in.
People don't understand.
Well, and here's the thing: feel like this. Like, if you come to it, like you would never come into my house. I would never allow you at my doorstep or into my house to be disrespectful to me. So this page, if you're going to come and you're going to run your mouth about her or me, that's like coming to my
it's
house.
like standing on the person's doorstep is the equivalent. It's the virtual doorstep. So Patrice, which we love, by the way, that this is not the Patrice.
This is not
Patrice who was judging Amanda. This is our other friend. We don't know that other lady, but this is Patrice Thompson. And she said, in reference to this Quad Cities reporter, that she is a great reporter. And so isn't that nice? Because in that moment, that's our hope, is that when she did, like Amanda described, share, hey, I got this letter, this really hurt me. The wonderful sort of consequence of that world of crowdsourcing social commentary is now we hope that some of those viewers like Patrice will say, hey, keep your head up. You're doing a great job.
And that's what it is. I often would share the bad stuff. And when we share the stuff that we hear, because we want to take you behind the scenes, this is what's really happening. So you may think that we have it all together and everything's great. We kind of want to take you behind the green curtain to say, this is what's really happening. This is what I'm enduring. Can you believe people are like this? And it's very therapeutic when you share stuff like that, because you feel very alone. You feel targeted and isolated.
Absolutely.
And it's also scary if you can't sit here and say like it's not scary. It's very scary when you get something like that, because you don't know the intention on the other end. The intention to hurt somebody. And that's scary stuff.
For those of you who've had attacks on like appearance, right, in a public forum, then as we all know, as these things go, and we dealt with this a lot, you convince yourself that it doesn't matter. And then you say, oh, I'm used to it. I have a thick skin. But everybody's human.
Yeah.
And there's parts of me where I would think, yeah, my hair doesn't look that good. But
someone will point it out.
Like, oh, you look like you were an all-night bender. That's what some woman like called the station about her. You look like you've been partying all night and didn't brush your hair. So, some crazy stuff like that. And so then there'd be that moment when I think, well, my hair has a lot of body to it. And, the way that I held, twisted the hair dryer, the curvature of my wrist probably made my hair not look, because we're not stylists.
No,
we're not.
Know.
We wish we had the glam of Bose, Dorit, Erica.
Oh my God, the Real Housewives glam.
How crazy that if you look back at those, sorry for those of you who aren't reality show fans, we're longtime Real Housewives franchise viewers. If you look back at those early days when Dorit didn't have any plastic surgery, no glam. Isn't it crazy how it's changed?
That's when I enjoyed watching. Once they got famous,
they were so much more authentic.
They were. Look at Mary Jansen. Amanda, get off your phone. Mary has given me tea. I'm going to say this without saying too much. The audacity of people, by the way, not to switch here, go left, but it's still around the same thing about people sending messages. The audacity of people who want to go viral, like to send messages via Instagram, Facebook, and threaten people. Like I was just sharing that with my dear friend Mary about somebody as a local business owner. Can you imagine being a local business owner and then sending like a threatening message to someone else, not realizing that who you're sending it to is me?
Well,
do you want to dance?
You brought this up.
Do you want to dance?
I'm so glad you brought this up, because this is a very bizarre take, but I have had two people say to me in regard to you being so kind to defend me. I had two people say, don't they know who you're best friends with? Don't they? And I thought to myself, so we're supposed to act like we like Tara because she's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But isn't that weird?
Right.
Like, oh, you shouldn't tear Tara down, not because that's wrong, but because she's friends with Amanda and Amanda may react as if we're justifying all this mean girl behavior. Like, attack somebody who's weak, attack somebody who's not going to respond.
Tara doesn't keep me in the backyard like, a pit bull on a chain. Like, she's not like, oh, let her loose. I mean, it's just be kind to people. If you can't, like, that's the thing. It's, you kill them with blindness. If you can't kill them with, like.
Now, I do have to say this because for what it's worth, it is funny. What people don't recognize, and I talk about this all the time, is the way that social media sort of harnesses this huge, incredible reach and the depth and breadth, if you will, of the analytics give us a really good insight into who's watching, who's viewing, who's digesting the content. So all told, I looked at this last night so I could tell you, all told, I think from the original post that you did in reference to the woman, and then the new post that you did in reference to the Mean Girls, I think it's reached like 130,000 people. And so I was laughing. It was up to 58,000 last night on the Mean Girl group. And then the original one, the reel, was like, I think you looked and it had like almost a million.
It had near a million. Yeah.
Whatever view.
Yeah.
Delineated by time watch
right now.
So anyway, it was amusing to me because, again, and this is the difference between, the average person living in, I don't know, Eastern Iowa and somebody with her social media sort of scope. The difference is if I posted something on my page and I chose to be very private and I didn't have a lot of followers, maybe 10, 20 people would see it. If she posts something because of 20 years now almost of building an audience, I mean, we're talking like tens of thousands of people are going to see it. And then inevitably it gets back to the 6 degrees of separation of Kevin Bacon. Oh my gosh.
Is that a billion?
Yeah. So the seconds are a billion
seconds.
60,000.
That's crazy. Sorry.
So that's
we
a
like
lot of
analytics.
math. That's a lot of math. Okay. But what's interesting then is that we have this mutual friend now, my close friend Gina from Pennsylvania. She lives outside of Pittsburgh, and she's from Washington, Pennsylvania. So when Amanda met her through me, now it's so funny that there are people that Gina knows in Pennsylvania who have no connection whatsoever to Amanda other than they both happen to be from the same state. And she's seen those people like share your posts.
That's funny.
Oh, I know her. I actually know that girl.
I know
What?
that girl.
How do you know this? How do you know this blonde bimbo living in Iowa?
But
I can't call you a blonde bimbo anymore.
I used to be. No, but it's funny though, because some of my friends from back home in PA had shared it, and then they saw some random colleagues of theirs shared it. And they were like, oh, that's my friend from college. And they're like, I knew she was from here. Like, you know what I mean? They were just like, I could tell she's a PA girl.
You can move her to Iowa, but you can't take the East Coast out of her.
It is, again, because it doesn't matter if you are like a Pittsburgh or a Philly girl. Both cities have so much grit, right?
Oh, for sure.
So all of my college friends, they were all from Pittsburgh, all from Western and PA. And Western PA is like, I think, the friendlier side of the state, but they're very, very gritty. Very gritty.
That word, and we like to say we're trying to raise gritty children, and what we mean by that is kids that have a little bit of a street smart approach to life. So that's something that is kind of a newer term in describing people, and I actually like it because I'm tired of like some of these terms are just getting so played out. Like when people say like, I can't remember it. I was going to ask you about this and how the vernacular of how we adopt phrases. And so what's really funny is to date ourselves. The biggest thing that right now you could say as like a Gen Xer is my bad.
Oh yeah. Is that not like, that's not.
No, I mean, I just think it's funny that our kids would be like, what? I mean, and so isn't it weird how these phrases culturally come and go? And then we start to pick up the stuff that the kids are saying, but we're late adopters because we're old. So we will start to say stuff like, that's fire. And then they're like, that's so 2 years ago, you know.
Listen,
By the time we pick it up, it's completely embarrassing.
I will never forget the first time someone used the word slide deck. And I said, what's a slide deck? And I was like, it's a PowerPoint. They're like, it's a slide deck. And I'm like, no, let's stop trying to rename things. And like, I think that's what some of the younger generations do. They take what we have.
So true.
And then they're renaming it.
They think that it's new. And we're like, honey, this is just reinventing the wheel.
Well, it's like belt bag. No, it's not. It's a fanny pack. It's a fanny pack.
For sure.
Had you worn it 15 years ago, people would have made fun of you. Right. So now because you wear it across your body, it's still a fanny pack.
And now we call it a crossbody too, which is funny. We didn't have crossbody. We didn't call it crossbodies. What did we call it when we were young? I couldn't remember.
I don't know.
Just a purse wrapped around your
pocketbook.
Yeah,
a pocket.
Okay, so I found something on X which I enjoy perusing often.
Oh,
and this was the former Twitter, now X. I thought you'll find this so interesting. Researchers have looked into women in their 40s and 50s. And one of the interesting revelations that I thought was worth sharing, friendship, according to researchers, and this is from medical scientific studies, friendship can be more powerful than supplements. Women in their 40s and 50s are one of the loneliest groups in the world right now. Close friendships outside your family have just the same effect on women as our biological and medical impacts. They can affect how long you live, and that exceeds sunlight, sleep, diet, and exercise.
That's
the
incredible.
impact of friendship.
So
that was very interesting to read, knowing, as many of you watching can attest, knowing how it is hard sometimes when you get older. And we've talked about this. Okay, a lot of our friendships, especially during those formative years for our children, they're built around the parents of your kids' friends, because you see them at sports, you see them at school events. So when those kids like Gia graduate, I saw somebody say, I can't wait to exit the 2026 moms group chat. So their take was, I don't want to be a part of these women socially anymore. And I thought that was sad when I read that, because especially with Thomas, I'm very close to a lot of the boy mom friends, not as much with Charlotte, but definitely with Thomas. So I thought it was a good point when thinking about it like this, because you then become an empty nester, you also have the loss of that built-in social network of friends that were based around your kids.
Well, and I think you realize that some of those friends weren't really your friends anyway, because I think when you are when it's friendships are based about kids stuff, I think it's very much opportunity controlling loyalty.
That's
so
very
it's
true.
Let me be friends, so my kid gets included to this sleepover, this get together, this. And so it's when your heart could be genuine, other people may not be, like I'm very thankful and blessed that I have very effortless friendships.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, Mary, like when I'm like texting her, like in the morning about some tea, I haven't seen her in a minute, but we pick up where we left off.
Right.
And like, you know what I mean? Or it's like you and I, and, and I have, another, dear friend that lives, the neighborhood next to me, and it's like we spend our whole day sending each other like TikToks and memes, and it's laughing, and we just pick right up where we left off. It's just very effortless. It's no drama. It's that's what I'm very, very thankful for.
Well, and you're right. What happens that many of you can relate to is when that, and we see this 10 times over in Iowa, there's something also that extends to your kids being in relationships. So what I've seen is as soon as your son or your daughter is dating somebody, then all of a sudden you want to hang, not all, but some people then are compelled to like, I want to hang out with my kids' significant other's parents. And it creates this pressure of like, well, we can't break up because now our parents are all doing potlucks and BFFs. And so I always sort of caution people, don't start glomming on to the parents of the significant other, because when they're 14, odds are they're not going to make it to the altar at 25.
Yeah, yeah, it's a really good. I've seen a lot.
Am I right? I
You're
mean,
very right.
and also,
Very true.
we're not wishing that these kids break up, but we're being honest about the fact that I think the divorce rate now for people getting married under the age of 25 is like 80% or something. I mean, I need to
Well,
look
'cause you
that
don't-
statistic
Well,
up.
you know, and I'm not knocking anybody who gets married young. You know, I got married later. You know, I got married
Same,
right
same.
at 29, a month before I
which
turned
was
30.
which was indicative of our career choices.
It was the career. However, I didn't grow up like my frontal lobe. When they say that frontal lobe doesn't form until it's 25, that's spot on. I mean, I was about as immature, and not immature like acting like entitled. Well, no,
Yeah.
I was entitled and narcissistic, and I was very self-absorbed. However, I recognized that about myself. I was very selfish, and it was the me. And so I knew I wasn't ready to like,
Mhm.
you know, settle down and do all of these things. And I mean, I think about it. I am like 17 different people since I was in high
Oh,
school.
for sure.
You know, I just wasn't.
Well, but also we should say this: when you then tell your kid that, oh, I hope you and Sally, or I'm using old names, you and Sally or you and Bobby, I hope you guys, you know, don't break up because I love his or her parents. Then what you don't realize is then are the kids really forming their own authentic individual relationship, or are they thinking in their minds, well, I really don't like her, but my mom expects me to stay with her. And I think that's that is planting a seed of this relationship isn't going to work long term
Mhm.
if it's driven by you're trying to keep mom or dad happy.
Yeah, don't do that.
But
Luckily,
I see that all
never-
the time.
Luckily, I never had that problem.
All same, because I didn't end up having.
My mom was like, if you ever get a tattoo, I'll burn it off with a match. I said, bet, I'll get 17. So I was never trying to seek approval from the old parentals, but it has been.
So Carol said, thank you for all you do and say to help others. That is very nice to read. We appreciate that. And Amy Shannon said, I think the new word being used for a-hole is entitled. That's a good one.
Oh, yeah.
That's a really good one. Absolutely.
That doesn't give me enough oomph. Like I like a good, you know what I mean? It's like why the F word is so near and dear to my heart, because it's like, you know, you add that in there as a.
Mary
as an
Jansen
adjective.
said, I keep you two in my back pocket. I love that. I love that.
Weezer.
Absolutely. And Jenny has entered the chat. Good morning, Jenny. So
Chris Carter is watching. How's our
Oh,
lighting?
we love Chris. Yeah.
How is
do
our
you like the
lighting?
lighting? Let me sit up straight. Right. Mr. Carter would, and oh, look, you can see here. I'm excited to kind
You're
of
on brand.
give a preview. I've got some hot pink pants on because we are in
Cedar Falls today. We're
We're
in
at New
Falls.
Altea, an incredible facility, and it is a senior living facility. However, anyone can attend this show. It's open to the public. If you go online and buy a ticket, faithandfourletterwords.com.
Yeah, somebody asked me, they're like, are you changing anything of your of your portion because you're in a senior living?
Oh, well, a little bit, in that we would have some content that would really focus on a group of women like my mom who are going through the stage of life where they're in their golden years.
Yes, I think they were referencing, Amanda, will you continue to.
Oh, the curse words.
And
Okay.
I said, yeah. Like, I'm not. Yeah.
Well,
like, you know, just because you hit a certain age doesn't mean you don't appreciate a good F-bomb sometimes.
We try to be very transparent in our title. And so it's a lot of faith, and there are some four-letter words. And the reason for this is very clear when we explain some of what happened and kind of the life experience. So we try to be really clear in the title.
Listen, people have to understand, when we talk about four-letter words in the show, it is four-letter words that were used on me, right? I also will drop a four-letter word, right? And I used to laugh because Ron Steele used to tell me all the time, you're going to go to hell because you swear. And I looked at Ron, first of all, if I'm going for a lot worse. Also, Jesus hung out with thugs. You don't think like his disciples were angry, like all hot in the desert? They weren't dropping like a word here and there. Like, it's not, come on. So I don't use them against somebody. Like, I would never use it. I mean, I want to,
So if you've been at all following our journey of our brand, which sounds
So
very
rude.
sanitized, we are very excited that this Friday on our birthday, the second children's book launches.
I'm very excited about it. This one on Friday is called Grace is Not Bossy. And I'm very passionate about this one because I was one of those girls, I still am, who is called bossy. I was always called bossy.
Same.
I was told to water it down. Like I was told, I mean, even by the people in my family, people who are closest to me, oh my God, you're just too much. You just need to stop. Like, it's too much. Young girls, there are leaders in training. I mean, Luciana, all three of my girls. Luciana is somebody that I will argue with because she is me now in a 10-year-old body, but she is spicy and they call her bossy. And I say, even in the middle of an argument with her, and I'm like, she is not bossy. Stop calling her bossy because we don't call boys bossy.
Yeah, that's so true. There is no equivalent.
No.
Just like there's no equivalent for a man, like the B word for women.
Oh,
There's
I
no
will
equivalent.
call a man a B word.
Well, but you know what I mean.
Especially Keebler.
The
He
connotation,
was a little bee.
The connotation is a female dog, like a variation of that, really. So you go back to the root, and the C word and the B word and all those horrible words, they are only reserved for women. I mean, we don't have an equivalent for men. I mean, but I agree with you. But I think the man slam is the P word. Like you would say, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, which again sounds very graphic to me, and it's not as jarring as the D word.
That's jarring to me.
The D word is?
With the D word.
Oh, yeah.
The P word is jarring.
Oh, yeah. No, that's what I mean. Yeah.
The P word is, and the C word.
Oh,
that will.
The C word, and now Dorit on Real Housewives.
She's gross.
She uses that if you're.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so we'll get off reality television, but I do need to mention this. It is very sad if you're a fan of that show to go back now because it's all over TikTok. Look at the clip when Dorit and Kyle first met with Lisa Vanderpump being their common friend.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sad because it reminds me, and many of you women can relate to this, when we meet new people in our life or new people come in our social circle, you never could in a million years imagine how things will unfold.
Right.
And sometimes that person coming into your life, you think of it as a blessing initially. And then if things go sideways, she ends up having so many issues with Kyle that it's almost like she's probably wishing that they had never been friends.
I think that money and fame have changed people.
Oh,
and it's
sure.
Like money and
for sure.
And it would be like if you're talking about local in your own circles, success changes people, or hierarchy of friendships changes people. Like if you get included over here now, and now suddenly you think that you're better than your OG friends, that changes people.
And I'm glad you said that because you told me about a situation that you witnessed, and I've very much seen similar scenarios over the years. And some of you watching will understand this. We know adult women who have, for whatever reason, are like obsessed, with like the diet and the exercise and all the things. To their credit, if that's what they want to be passionate about. Interestingly, we have seen women who would be stereotypically overweight or considered heavier people. We've seen some of these women lose a lot of weight, and then all of a sudden, the skinny group or the women who before might have been critical of them, now they give them attention or treat them differently because they're thin. They're now one of us. And I don't mean us, I mean theoretically them saying this. It blows my mind. I can't imagine treating somebody differently because of the weight difference. And I think it's in terms of friendship and all that,
right.
But it's so crazy how my friend who got gastric bypass years and years ago, she was 354 pounds and she lost 175 pounds. And she said it was a completely different world. Mm-hmm. Men opened the door for her. People looked her in the eye. Flight attendants didn't give her the side eye of, are we going to need to get the seatbelt extender? I mean, all these things. People at places like Six Flags or Marriott's Great America weren't thinking, oh, they're not going to fit on the ride. I mean, you don't even think through how our culture really is so judgy and critical of things like weight. And, it kills me to think about her feeling. This is what she said. She said, when I was that heavy, it was like I was invisible.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that terrible?
It is terrible.
We don't
We've
even
lived
realize that culturally we're doing that.
I've lived it, and you've lived it as well. And not talking about size, but we were invisible when we left television.
Oh yeah.
When we left television, and we were no longer the TV news person, then you learn how people really felt about you, and that's how you weed out your friendships. And now I know that there are people who are very nice to me, not because they like me, because they're worried that I'm going to write about them. And it's hilarious to me.
That's 1,000%.
It's hilarious to me because that's
like
not what
that
I
person
do.
who said that to me, like, don't they know you're friends with Amanda? She's not running around like keeping a list of receipts.
Yeah, like I mean,
you have the receipts about a lot of things, but you're not like taking.
I do not like. I don't use my page to wake up and for revenge. I don't use my page for vengeance. I don't believe in that. I don't need to believe in that because I know the Bible too. Because I say a swear word, and I know that God says vengeance is mine. Just chill out. Vengeance is mine, and He's going to give it back like no one's business. I don't use my page for that, but people like to think that I do, and that's where it's like let them think whatever. But then when people start saying like, well, she's not going to do this, she did, and they run their mouth because there is still power there. And I'm not saying I am powerful. There's power to the pen, to the pen,
for
right?
sure.
And
we're the early adoptees of that mantra because it came from the world of journalism, which is our traditional pursuit. Chris Carter, another journalist, said men typically don't give those words any power, and that is so true.
Yeah, no,
we react horrified. She called me. He called me. Whereas men are just like, dude, do you think I can? And that's true. It's all about how. It's all about the emotional attachment to the word.
Well, I have been called the C word. First of all, the B word. I don't. That's like, thank you. I'll wear that proudly because that means if someone calls a woman the B word, that means that they have been affected by your boundaries, your standards, and your expectations. So that's why, right? They're affected. But if you call me the C word, I will sit there and I kind of, and if I start doing that, crazy lady has been activated. Crazy lady has been activated because once I give that chuckle, that means I'm about to see red and just go. And like, that's the thing, because if you're going to be so bold to call another woman that, it's a dirt nap.
So I wanted to read this comment from Mary Hackman. That is so true that women do that to each other. It shouldn't matter your size or any other reasons that women should do that to each other. True friends will be there no matter what. And,
that's how
and especially when you think about if you're like a lot of us, in our adult lives, we've at our weight can yo-yo, like the sun rising and setting. And that's just part of the body changes, the hormonal changes, and of course the pregnancies that come and go, right? For those of us blessed with children. Read Chris's comment.
Yeah, Chris Carter
I remember this.
Chris Carter said, when I lost my job in TV, someone asked my girlfriend if she was going to still date me.
Yeah.
Because, and like, this doesn't even,
isn't that insane?
You know what, like, it's horrible because I'm like, yeah, sounds about right. But that's
because people were judging everyone's default, not everyone, but a lot of people's default in those situations is that shallow level, like, oh, you only want to date him because he's on TV, as if Chris is operating in this shallow level persona where I'm the man in the suit reading the news, and it's no, like he's a real human father.
He's a real boy.
Yeah. And so that's the one thing too, that we all sort of bond over when we're former TV people, is we understand what that feels like to have people all of a sudden kind of disappear when the lights go down and you're no longer in the spotlight.
Yeah. And, but you do learn who you're supposed to be around and who you're not supposed to be around. But the most freeing thing is that you just learn a lot about everything. And you never think that, for instance, when we were in television, I never, ever thought that journalism would ever be compromised. For instance, like I mean that in the fact that I never thought that money would ever affect journalism. Couldn't have been more wrong. The fact that an advertiser if they have money, or somebody in the community who has money could literally pick up the phone, and it's like calling the red phone, could pick up the phone, and then a story would be, or pick up the phone, and then I would get pulled in. I was involved in a lawsuit. I'll just say, I don't care. I was involved in a lawsuit where someone was trying to sue me for something so ridiculous, and it was like insane. And then there was like a local attorney that was like coming. It was just bizarre. But they were golfing with the the management at the time, and they're like, "You're going to settle this. Like, it's not going to be good for you to go because they're going to drag your name." I'm like, I don't care if they drag your name. No, you're going to settle. I mean, it was like, and they tried to ruin my reputation, and that was held against me. And I'm so angry about it. Like, I'm still angry about it. And the statute of limitations is worn off. So I can like speak about it now. I'm so angry about it. And I look at it like, that was so wrong. And I let it happen. And I was living from fear. And at the time I was like, okay, yeah, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do?
Well, but that's
Tell me what you want me to do.
That what you mentioned about, we never thought that it would, because at the time, imagine when we were in our 20s, we were entering the television news and that whole side of journalism with managers at the time and general managers who were old school. So there was still a line of demarcation,
Yes.
if you will, between news and sales. So it would have been unheard of for a salesperson to come up to us and say, "You're going to have to kill that story.
Oh, for sure.
I've got an ad buy coming up." Now it's like the lines are all blurred.
It was a
They're all
very,
blurred.
I remember when I lived in Texas, and I'm so thankful that I, being young, and we had like the old school journalists leading the way,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And I had the Carrie Kings of the world who were leading the way, teaching me how to be. And they did a thing down at Amarillo, and I loved it. It was called Summer Celebration in the summer. It was so hot. And we would take the show on the road. And so we would do the 5, 6, and 10 out on location. And we covered 5 states, 2 time zones. So it was a very big viewing area. So we would take it on the road, and we would meet. I mean, hundreds of people would show up for these live tapings. It was amazing. It was amazing. But there was such, like, the news team was over here, and then the sales team was way over there, and they were the ones coordinating the autographs, or they were coordinating. But it was such it wasn't even a final. It was like you stay over there.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't like, I mean, we hung out. I'm not saying like one group was better, but I'm saying the sales team never came over and told the news team what to do at all. You know what I mean? Like there was never, it was never.
And that was just an understood separation.
Well, and it was, I think about then, like, because then they would have autographs, and they would never come to us individually. They would go to the news director, and they would say, "Hey, do you mind if we grab Amanda real quick? There's somebody that wants to talk to her."
Oh,
so there was such a level of like respect.
So back in the day, the local TV station where Chris Carter, Amanda, myself, and Mark worked, they had these cards, picture like baseball cards for news personalities. And they had these cards where it was like Chris Carter, you know?
Oh yeah, mine was like this big.
Yeah. So these were the small kind of like wallet sized cards. So one time, after, a couple, 2-3 years had passed from the time these cards were distributed, Chris said that he saw those being sold at a garage sale.
Well, let me tell you, I didn't have the baseball card ones.
Not sure what the value
I got ones that were like 5x7s.
Like a contact
and
card.
it was a giant picture of my head. Okay. And I remember I got a stack like
and
this.
You signed them?
Well, yeah. And they're like, give these out to people. And I'm like, this is horrible.
That
Can you imagine,
so
like,
funny.
Take a giant picture of my head. Here you go. You want a picture of me? Like, I don't like that. And that's the problem, though. People assume that because we're on TV that we want it to, like, I didn't want to showcase myself. I did not want to showcase myself. I actually wanted to be a journalist. Being on TV was just part of the job.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be on. It wasn't necessarily, yes, I like people watching me because I'm the middle child. I wanted that attention.
For sure.
But it wasn't about
whenever we interview people or when we know people that do anything where their job or their company, puts them in the spotlight, if their default is to say, I don't want the attention, or I don't, then I always say, now let's be clear. Part of what attracted you to be in a position of authority or power is you definitely have an ego and you like it to be stroked from time to time. And that's not anything that we're not owning either.
Yeah, no, we wanted to be on TV. I wanted people to look at me. I did. I wanted to be on TV. I wanted to be famous. I was
and
egotistical.
then we forgot we didn't know, we were ignorant of the fact that we didn't intend for everyone then to tell us how fat and ugly we were, because we forgot that for all the people that might say something nice, you
But,
could
like,
also take a lot of pot
can
shots.
you imagine? Just imagine this. Like, let's just say I'm gonna come to your office today. And I'm just gonna have I'm gonna bring my little cup of coffee, right? I'm gonna be standing there and I'm gonna be like, Susie, what are you wearing? That's not a good look on you. You know what I mean? Like, or Debbie, you need to get your roots done. Like, that's literally what it was.
Oh my
like,
gosh, that is so true.
people were coming.
It's so
Like,
true.
imagine people.
What about men? Imagine the men.
Oh, they couldn't handle it.
Imagine like you're
They
in
couldn't
a
handle it.
meeting and then you're like, wow, Bob, you've really let yourself go. That suit, the buttons are popping on.
Could you imagine if we went up to a man who was balding and said, "It's time to talk about Rogaine"? They could not handle it. Like, that's why I'm telling you, I'm tough as nails. Imagine going into work, and we talk about this in the show. So you need to go in the show if you haven't been one. Imagine going to work and them throwing down a scale in the middle of the office, so imagine all these cubicles around. They've put a scale in the middle of the office, and they tell you they call you up like you're Bessie at the state fair. That's what happened.
Insane.
We had to weigh in, right? And then when it was like, I just had a baby, and it was, we have to send you to this weight loss clinic. Like, you had to go to a weight loss clinic. If you looked at a man, and I'm not, no disrespect to men at all. This is reality, because I don't think men can handle it. And I say this because, have you had a man in your house who has a cold? You know what I mean? Like, they can't handle the same things that we can handle.
Okay.
If I walked up to my husband, I said to Hector the other day, he's getting and I have waited for this since we got married. My husband has jet black hair. And I said, one of these days, your hair is going to turn like salt and pepper, and it's going to be like the hottest thing. And he's like, and so I looked at him the other day and I'm like, oh my God, your hair is getting so gray. And I meant it like, I'm so excited.
Part of it is the stress of raising kids.
Oh, for sure. And he looked at me like he was devastated. Like, he was very hurt. And I go, oh no, I meant that as a compliment. But had you put him, and he was in TV. He worked for Telemundo.
Yeah.
Had you put him in a newsroom and someone gone up to him and said, we need to talk about your hair. I mean, it would have hit him very hard.
Okay, so Chris is watching, so he will remember this. When back in the day, and I'm a lifetime member of Weight Watchers, and at one point, even when I was in television, I was a group leader.
Okay.
And I would go into a local business and run Weight Watchers meetings, and that was cool that they let me do that. Now, the funny part about it is, if you can relate to this, any woman or man who's ever weighed in at Weight Watchers, when I tell you, people will take off every single thing that possibly is. There was a Weight Watchers weigh-in where a woman took off dentures and a wig.
Yeah, I would do it too. Amen.
Sally, so Chris may recall that when I did the morning news with him and Mark, I would go on my mid-morning break, sometimes once a week, to weigh in. Mm-hmm. And I would go into the equipment room, and I would change into boxer shorts and a tank top, to have the lightest clothes. And it's so funny looking back. This is awful. And he's very much our friend, but I'm going to be transparent about Mark. Mark, one time, I'll never forget, and not realizing as a woman how this comes off, when a woman who's from Eastern Iowa, who's now very successful in Hollywood, she was in Mission Impossible and she was in the show Pixels with Adam Sandler. She came when she was back in Iowa to do a new news interview with our team during, a holiday period when she was home with family. After the interview, I'll never forget that Mark said to Chris and me something to the effect of, she is so thin, as if to, in my, of course I'm a woman. So the way I took that was, oh, I'm a hippo.
Yeah.
And I laugh now, and I think about this, and this is gonna blow your mind. At the time when Mark was saying how thin this woman was and being so complimentary of her, not probably meaning to, but making me feel like, oh, I'm large Marge. I was 135 pounds and I'm 5'11".
Tara.
I'm 5'11". So think about that.
That's, yeah.
135 pounds,
Yeah.
That's like
Orange on a toothpick.
correct.
Orange on a
And
toothpick.
I remember at that moment being like, yeah, I'm really fat compared to her. And I was 135.
Yeah, I don't think people realize when they make comments like that.
It's like,
And that's the thing. And here's the thing that's interesting. We would have male consultants or male news directors setting the bar. Hey, Amanda, you need to weigh 130 pounds. Hey, guess what? Amanda doesn't look good as a 130 pounds. Do you know Italian women? Real Italian women do not weigh 130 pounds. We don't. Like, it's just not like, but it was like, okay. Like, I got to do it. I got to do it. And I mean, it was like dangerous. We talk about a lot of this in the show. This is a really good chunk, like, which if you're in the Cedar Falls area, please come to the show tonight so we can talk about it. But it was, I had like a diet that I had to follow that was like 700 to 750 calories an entire day. And I got,
that's malnourished.
it's completely malnourished. And that's why probably my hair was falling out. And
for sure.
And then I was abusing laxatives. I was taking 10 at a time to get everything out of my body.
Crazy.
So before I would weigh in, because that number on the scale at weigh-in was driving everything. And that was going to be mailed to my email to my consultants or the news directors and all the people. And then that number, if I didn't hit that number, then in their eyes, she's not serious about this job. She's not serious about her career if she doesn't hit this number on the scale. So
sick.
It is sick.
Rose said many people seem to think anyone overweight is lazy and stupid. And I think what's sad is that can be true if someone's heavy set about how they're perceived. And let me tell you, and we've talked about this, I can promise you that somebody who would be considered like bigger boned or bigger, like some, when you look at athletes, like let's go back to what you defended, which is Audie Crooks. I can promise you, Audie Crooks is in better shape than like probably you and I have ever been. I mean, definitely me. No, I strike that. When I was in college, my part-time job was I taught aerobics and I was in the best shape of my life. So that was driven by, I needed money to have some spending money.
Well, I used to call my husband skinny fat. I used to call Hector skinny fat all the time because he was like, people like that. He was so skinny, but his like, I would sit there and watch. I'm sitting over here eating like a rabbit, trying all the things. And he would be sitting there with a can of Coke and like a giant steak. And like, I mean, he would eat and I'm like, it's not fair. Like, and so I would say to him, like, you need to go get your blood work done. Like, you are like skinny fat. And he was like, okay.
We love Hector, and now that you're going gray,
so handsome.
It was good that you
it's so handsome.
Preface that
because
he's saying that it was a turn on to you.
It's
a negative thing.
I'm telling you, for nearly 2 decades, I have said to him, I'm like, I can't wait until your hair goes salt and pepper, because it's just this he's very debonair anyway, but it just adds this. It's like, okay,
it's distinguished.
But if I let my hair go gray, it would be like, you look like a witch. Like, that's why I can't have, like, so I still want to have long hair.
And you told me that at one point your mom was going gray, and then your dad was thinking, it doesn't look as good.
My mom, my mom doesn't have the pretty silver hair that your mom has. So my mom, my
mom only has that because she was warned in her late 30s to never dye it. So she didn't. But otherwise, my mom has dull your gray.
She had gray hair, and everybody in our family was talking crap about her. Like, why does her hair look like this? And my dad was like, it just, and this was like years ago. So it was really aging my mom, and it was like gray. It wasn't like a pretty silver. So I said to my mom, because I'm just direct. Like, I'm like, Mom, let's go back. Like, why are you let's dye your hair. Like, it doesn't look good. And she started crying.
You were the only one.
I was the only one
that would tell her to her face what everyone was saying behind her.
And then she did this whole thing. She was like, why don't you love me just for me? And I went, okay. I go, and okay, first of all, they're all talking about you. So now her hair is silver again, but she's doing this growing out process where it's some of like, it's gray again. It's silver. So but hey, each to their own, right? Like, my problem is like, when people, like, she asks me, she's like, do you like my hair? I just like, and I was like, well, like, I said, it's hard to get used to.
Okay. You are somebody who, and this is not, I
can't lie.
I applaud that it would be hard for your facial expression to not reflect your true
If my
feelings.
face says, if my mouth doesn't say it, my face will, and I'm not trying to like be rude. But if you are asking me my opinion, like if you're
So,
asking me,
that's the problem. There's
Just don't ask.
Don't ask people for the opinion.
My husband's
if
the
you
same
know
way.
They're an honest person.
my husband is the same way. I'll be like, do you like this on me? Then I want to like cut him. It's kind of like like when I'm like, I get real excited if it's like a new food. I'm like, you have to try this. And he like and then he's like the food connoisseur. He's like, and I'm like, eh. But my husband's very like, I will ask him all the time, like, should I wear this or this? And he'll be like, he's like, I don't like that one. But I want an honest, do you like my hair like this? But I think my mom asks me, she doesn't want the truth.
Oh,
what I've learned.
Right.
Well, so that's why my
and
brother and my sister are her favorites.
Parents want kids to like sugarcoat, I mean, but she didn't sugarcoat what she told you over the years. So
no.
So it's a two-way street. Okay.
They hate
mom,
you give.
Joanne said, a friend group of mine had a lady who had lost a lot of weight from being sick.
Oh.
One of the men said she looked better than she ever had. And my mom said that she was the hippo in the group, which she wasn't. But I understand what she's saying. Isn't it sad now we've reached that age where when somebody loses a lot of weight, especially this is so true with like older people, years ago, the default would have been, wow, they look great. Now you're like, are they sick?
Yeah.
Isn't that
Right.
awful?
No.
But like you think
let's
not
forget. A couple of years ago when I started getting healthy and losing all my weight, and yes, I was on the GLP-1s to control the food noise, to eliminate the food noise. That's all GLP-1s are. They control the food noise. You still have to do the work. And someone reached out and they're like, Amanda's on meth.
Oh my gosh, I forgot
Remember?
about that.
Like, I'm on meth. Like, no. Like, I love my face too much to take meth. Like, I'm on meth. Like, okay. Like, maybe I just worked hard, but it was like,
my gosh,
she must be
so
on,
funny.
she must
She's
be on meth.
Now, one thing I will say, when you talked about not being malnourished and how it affected your hair. So my friend who had the gastric bypass, that is one layer of gastric bypass that can happen, is that iron deficiency can cause you to have like thinning hair. And so it was sad because I did feel for her. It was such a cool story. I documented and did stories on the whole thing. I was in the operating room when she had the surgery, and then I documented her journey over the following like 1.5 years. Do you know one of the best stories that we did? I was telling somebody the other day this. We went into Bon Marché, which is a department store in the Northwest at the time. She, for the first time in her life, she was able to shop without having to only seek out
it's amazing.
a plus size section.
I get it.
I didn't recognize the impact of that on her emotionally.
Yeah.
And she teared up and she said, Tara, she said, I can't imagine how it feels after years of being relegated to, 2 rounders.
Right.
I just can't, I'm overcome to be able to just walk into a store and say, you know what, I could shop any of these racks. And I never forgot that.
I sympathize with that. And it's when I was heavier, and I got heavy after my time on on TV news. And it was partly because I was just kind of like, it was like the middle finger, like, I don't have to weigh in for anybody. So I'm just going to let it go. And my goal was this, I didn't have a weight, like a number on the scale. My goal was, I want to dress effortlessly. That's all it was. I want to dress effortlessly. I don't want to, like, when you're heavier, and if any woman struggles with their weight, you understand this. We're always thinking, we always have to think, like in the summertime, well, I have to cover up my bingo arm. So it was like, I wanted to wear just a tank top and shorts, but I can't because I'm self-conscious about my arms and my legs. So I was always wearing something over top, or I could never, I just wanted to be able to go. And I didn't want to embarrass my kids. Like, I didn't want to be, I didn't want to be wearing like the muumuu bathing suit out in public when walking around. And I just wanted to dress effortlessly. And the irony of the whole thing, my clothes are baggier now, not because they're heavier.
You've kind of adopted the Rachel Zoe.
I'm very Rachel Zoe
style.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Thank you. I don't wear anything like tight. Like I will, but it'll be like a jacket over top. Like I'm not I'm not showing skin. I just want it to like, but it's the clothes that I can wear now. I couldn't wear them before, if that makes sense. Even if they were baggy, they just didn't look right. So it's, if you are struggling, I trust me, we see you, we know what it's like. We're thankful that you don't have to go through what we had to do. Like, our job was contingent on our appearance. And that's what was,
our
that
good
was
friend
hard.
Jenny said, I love my husband's gray. She's talking about her husband, Jeremy. Bonus is people think he is older than me. And I got 5 years on him. So it's like you and Hector.
Yeah, well,
You're
5 years.
older.
Yeah.
She's older than Jeremy. But when they start to gray, and because you guys have some color on your hair, they could look older than you.
I got a lot of color on this hair. I think my whole head would probably be gray.
Really?
I think my whole head would be.
Well, that makes sense because it's usually how early your parents grade.
My
and
mom,
I take after my dad,
oh,
and he grayed much later in life. And then when he passed away at 76, he still had dark hair. And then my sister, she's taken after my mom, so she grayed early. And she's embracing the gray.
Oh, I think it's gray on people.
Yeah,
I'm not, trust me, I'm not saying it doesn't look good. It looks good. I don't have a pretty gray. Like, there's people out there who are embracing the gray and it looks amazing. And it's like this vibrant, I've got like this, cause it would figure, like, let me give you the dullest gray hair in the world. Looks like I'm like behind like a witch's pot. Like, let's get the porridge going.
Oh,
what am I talking about, porridge?
That is hilarious.
But again, if I can ask you all a favor, before we give you the 4-letter word of the day, I want you to go, if you can, go to the Amanda Goodman page. I'm not plugging myself. I don't get any money on that page by any means, but there is the girl that I want to, I'm sorry, I don't remember her name off the top of my head. It's WQAD, Shelby Kluver. Shelby Kluver, she got a post. She got the card. She's a young journalist.
Yeah, we talked about it.
We talked about it in the beginning of the show.
If you missed it,
yeah.
She's saying that this woman, we relate to so much, and that now in a world of social media, they were really committed because they bought a card.
They bought a card and the stamp. But it's crazy. Like, our entire show is based off why we walked away and some of the BS that happens. And it's 2026. So when people say, do you think this is still happening? It is. It is very much still happening. And for those people who are telling her to take the high road, she is. Taking the high road means putting your foot down, speaking out and saying, I'm not doing this anymore. That's the high road. That's how you protect yourself.
And that was nice of you to comment on her about her, and because you've been there. And so she will get that you uniquely understand how it feels. So that was very nice.
And, our former First Lady, Michelle Obama, said, when they go low, we go high. But Amanda Goodman, as we talked about the other day, we go low. Earthworm.
She said she's going so low, she's going to be an earthworm. And I was at the time
at the hospital
recovering, and I was laughing out loud because you are hilarious in the way that you, in a humorous way, describe cutting people off at the knees.
Yeah. If you think that you're going to stand around in an office setting laughing about my best friend, who's my sister, getting in a car accident, and nothing is going to come back around to you, you are so very wrong. You are so very wrong. If you think that you're not going to get found out for what you're doing, you are so very wrong. And I pray you have the day you deserve.
With a smile.
And that's why my 4-letter word of the day is nope.
I love it.
That's my 4-letter word of the day. And that's what I would like when
someone's
if someone tries to disrespect you today, nope. It's like, nope.
Yeah,
that word can mean just a lot.
Yeah, that's a great word.
Thank you.
And hear more about our kind of recent events tonight at New Aldea. Every time, this is like our cliche that we say, and I actually stole it from my pastor, Pastor Q. Our test, or may your test become your testimony. And I've had a lot of tests in very recent weeks, and I will share that testimony tonight. I have a tickle in my throat. Sorry, because I was laughing.
It's all coming up.
Because I was laughing about the earthworm thing. Okay, 1 John chapter 4, verse 9. This is how God showed his love among us. He sent his one and only Son into the world that we might live through him. And so our Christianity, our faith is based around Jesus Christ being our Lord and Savior. And I cannot tell you how many times in the last week I have on Spotify, I use their like AI DJ, which my kids roll their eyes. It's a DJ voice, and it's catered or tailored to your whims from the songs that you've picked on Spotify. And Spotify serves up a lot of contemporary Christian music because I've listened to that for decades. And so I am grateful when these Christian songs come on, and I am supported and buoyed and uplifted by that faith-driven relationship that I have with Christ. And I think one thing that Amanda and I have talked about that's so true is like sometimes growing up there, and it still is very much in play today, there's this feeling of like, oh, you shouldn't talk about your faith, or there's like a line of demarcation, and people say like, don't talk about religion and politics. But I love that God over the years has convicted me and put me in a place where I can't imagine not sharing my faith.
Yes.
And it has led to so many incredibly meaningful and moving conversations with people at the grocery store, the hospital, yesterday at the post office. A woman came up to me at the post office and she said, Tara, she said, I believe that God was looking out for you. And then I thought, I'm glad that I came in here to mail these letters.
Yeah. And it wasn't luck. It's always God. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you tonight in Cedar Falls at New Aldea Lifescapes for our show.
Thank you for watching the group chat. The show is brought to you by the empowering staff at Urology Center of Iowa, Senoyer Gardens, Azalea Lane Boutique, and Splendor the Medical Spa.